तुर कलिया वे छल्ला चल वे तुर कलिया छड़ रंज दियां गलियां चल वे तुर कलिया वे छल्ला चल वे तुर कलिया ओ छड़ रंज दियां गलियां चल वे तुर कलिया। ये तुर कलिया उत्ते ही बेस्ड है पूरा शो इन द खुड। Welcome back to In the Khud. This is 31st of July 2022, 8:48 p.m. 2048, third Sunday of In the Khud. Woke up at 6 a.m. Good. I was having super feel goods in the morning, took Snowy for a walk, and the first round was like normal. I usually walk a little fast because I want to get him exercise and stuff before he starts to get bored. But the second round, he started walking like unusually fast. Like he was just breezing through the entire building, and then I figured later that he wanted to poop. And all of a sudden he, the part where you reach the Chinese place at the back, started going round. I was like, okay, today is success. And then there was this long, I don't think I should be describing it, but authentic organic poop. And that feels like a really successful thing to have done, especially because we haven't been taking him down to the rains and stuff. So only a dog parent will understand how amazing that feeling is. To do in the morning, I wrote down some things to do, generic. I want to make a thumbnail script for AE, and that's what I worked on in the morning. I'll get to that in a second. Then for full-time job, there is nothing. For dad's work, I want to do show 3 episode 1 to 55 submission, but there are a little more technical queries that we have to deal with. That will be done tomorrow, and only post that can I submit it. So this got canned. I did read a Medium post because Sunday went down to get the office cleaned. And small things I've learned: comment out multiple lines of code in Notepad, select the text and say Control Shift Q. So that's a good nice thing. The biggest thing that I feel today I kind of conquered is with a little bit of research. Obviously, I figured out how you can use auto hotkey to get the data inside of Microsoft Excel. So that's the AHK script I worked on today. So for example, I will show you this thing here. Now this is running. Okay, no, don't save this. If I am here, I will press F5. Now this is painfully slow at this moment because I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. So the sleep quotient will be tweaked and tuned later to make it faster, because this is very slow, like really slow. I have a 3-second gap at the time when the loop begins again. So I'm gonna press F5, and that will first go down, and it will pop out the number of rows in between here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That comes from message box. Of course I will take it out later, but it's just at a testing stage. So after that happens, I don't want to move anything because the input is still on, so that messes things up. But now you're seeing that through the number of rows that we have, it's slow, but it is doing exactly what I wanted to do. It is taking data from Excel, putting it to TC Calc, calculating the difference, then coming back to Excel and pasting it at the place that I want it to be placed. And this is without giving any sorts of input as to how many rows there are. It is using code, it is using logic to make out how many rows there are automatically. So this is completely dynamic. If I was to increase the number of rows, this would update automatically. And this is one big thing. And the next big thing is I figured that I probably need some kind of thing here already, so I just paste this here, okay, for say namesake. And if I want to calculate the sum of these things, I'm just gonna press F8 here, and this time it won't even message box out how many number of rows there are. It will just figure out the number of rows and calculate the sum and paste it at the place that I wanted to be placed. Pasted, and TC Calc has been escaped, cleared out. So this, because you're not doing this work, you will not understand. But for me, because I've been doing this work for 2014, 8 years, and this is huge. If I can get it work fast, of course it's very slow now, but just getting this logic through and done just by pressing 2 buttons is huge. Really satisfied that I pulled this off today. Now just for example, if I was to remove these 2 rows, and now if I was to again run the difference function, so press F5, it's going to calculate the number of rows again and display. It's going to be 3 this time, correct, and then it will slowly but surely do what I wanted to do exactly. पिया बाग मंजर में गिस्ता में भी घुल खिलया. And then I come in here. I do need that to have some value here, because then the logic fails if wait. See, what is it doing? I need to have some sort of value, like what the wait. Is it an oh shit. Okay, this happened the first time. I have to have some value here, because that is the reason this is working. Like I've set these controls to calculate the number of rows. So to have some value here, and then press F8, then it's gonna go in and calculate the sum of these rows. So yeah, as you can see, this is completely customizable and it figures out the number of rows itself and does. It's beautiful. I love it. The only thing that is left to be done now is how can I make it quicker and more efficient. How have I reached 736? Bruh. This is just nonsense. Anyway, so this was one thing for the AE script, thumbnail script. I am still not convinced as to what I should be doing. I will show you what I did in the morning. This one, I initially thought it to be this. Ignore this. Okay. That on the right side I would have my face, and then on the left side I would have the Notion thing. But this is just unnecessary information in my opinion. And then I thought about doing this, where I would just have this face and this. So I feel like this is a more legit path to go for the thumbnail, because I can just in one glance know what date it was and what number it is, and then the title of that can come from here. So I have to obviously get a few expressions in. I'll probably stick with this only. Let's try doing it for 2 days, and then we'll run a loop, a script through which can be done for like all the others. And then the Medium post, where are we at? 9. Why is time running so fast? Okay, I read this Medium post. I actually read a couple of them, but I found this one interesting. It says, passion, I will do 9 to 5. And here he talks about, I did not highlight anything as such, but he just talks about how it's kind of cool to be an entrepreneur and have your own thing and escape the 9 to 5 and stuff like those. Oh, notification on Medium. And there's this person who started following me. How is this supposed to work? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he talks about how it's very cool to just escape the 9 to 5, and this is also what I am thinking of doing in the year to come. At moments I also feel like it's the best thing to have a 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday, and then work on what you want to, and on the side, like you can always build things up on the side, because I for one I'm a person who will just start to go insane if all I have to do is what I love to do and I have no constraints. And that day when I was on the shop floor call, I was also thinking about this, that it is such a privileged position to be in, where there's an entire team that's figuring out the project and it's not just up to me. In an instance where I was working as a freelancer, working for myself, everything from the storyboard, the design to the animation, I would have to figure out, to the costings, to the communications, everything. But here I just have to work on the animation. Everything else, there is the founder who's working, and there's the art director who's working, and the solution person who's working. So this is basically the ideal job for me to be in, and doesn't really make sense for me to, at any point in the near future, at least when I say like 2 years or 3 years, at least 3 years. I'm thinking June. I know I said June 2023, but I am now, as I get mature, as I grow more, as I think more about it, I'm starting to feel like this 9 to 5 is not something you should be running away from, but something you should be embracing. And when I say you should be, I'm talking to myself, because there's only me here and nobody else. Okay, we've hit 11 minutes. So this was pretty much it today. The keyboard was supposed to come, Corsair K55, but it did not come. That's weird. Amazon is not really delivering on its promises. Whenever it comes, I'm gonna probably take a week to figure out how the macros and the software work, and how is this keyboard working along with that keyboard. Is this even working, or I just have to stick to that? There are a lot of things that have to be figured there, but we'll see how it goes. And that's it for today's documentation. Thanks so much for being in the Khud one more day. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.